My wife, 34F, is devastated that I, 36M, went through with a vasectomy.
Would love some advice on how to proceed with a tricky situation.
My wife and I have 4 kids, and after we had our 4th, we were both very much on the same page that our family was complete and that I would get a vasectomy to close the door on that chapter of our life. It took me about a year after having our 4th kid to get my initial vasectomy consultation scheduled, but before I did, there was a period of time where virtually every time my wife and I had sex, she would make a comment afterward asking when I was going to get my vasectomy scheduled, usually in a light-hearted tone, but I could tell there were serious undertones. I finally got my vasectomy consultation scheduled last month, and got the procedure scheduled for a few weeks after that.
I was open with my wife about going through with the consultation and also about when the procedure was going to be. In fact, I had to actually coordinate with her since she would need to drive me home afterward.
During this whole time, she was supportive.
She made 1 or 2 light-hearted comments about, "Are you sure we're done having kids?" And I would say, "Absolutely," and we'd laugh and the conversation would end.
The night before the procedure, out of seemingly nowhere, my wife started making comments about how maybe I shouldn't rush into the vasectomy, how it would be sad to shut the door forever on having kids naturally, recognizing that a vasectomy reversal procedure would be expensive and possibly not even workable, and how she was starting to have regrets on this in general. I expressed confusion on where this was coming from since I thought we had been on the same page, and I reiterated my reasons for wanting the vasectomy, i.e., how I feel like I barely have enough time as it is to properly focus on each of our 4 kids now and don't want to deprive them of my attention, focused by having more, how I didn't want to push off retirement by having another kid. For context, I work in a stressful profession and want to retire by the time I'm 60 so I can still spend a lot of my good years pursuing hobbies and spending time with my wife and grandkids.
And how I feel like our family is perfect as is.
My wife started crying and basically shut down, just repeating over and over that she didn't think I should do it. We didn't resolve the fight and ended up just going to bed not on good terms. In the morning, my wife was more quiet than usually but took me to my vasectomy procedure as planned.
She made a comment in the car on how she probably had overreacted and gotten cold feet last night just because it's human nature to want to preserve options and not permanently close doors on things like this.
Got my vasectomy done. She drove me home, and I spent the rest of the day resting and working. The next day, my wife became very cold, and when I asked her what was wrong, she told me that I completely disregarded her feelings about the vasectomy and selfishly got the procedure done even though she didn't want me to.
I was genuinely taken aback because even though we had had a fight about it the night before, our last conversation on this ended in her admitting she had simply gotten cold feet. She has since been extremely bitter since then, and it seems to be getting worse by the day.
She is now saying me going through with the vasectomy is the single biggest regret of her life, that she's never going to get over it, that she should have stood up for herself more and let me know how she really feels, and refused to give me a ride to the doctor's office the day of the procedure, and that she feels like she's let God and a potential unborn 5th kid down by letting me go through with this. I've tried to be sensitive and acknowledge, legitimize her feelings while reiterating my reasoning for why I thought this was best for our family and, regrettably, telling her it is my body and a vasectomy is ultimately my choice. I've subsequently told her I understand having a kid is a joint decision, but she maintains that we made a mistake and that she wants to have another kid now.
I've never seen her this distraught about something for this long, and I am genuinely scared she isn't going to get over this.
I've made some suggestions to try to make this better, including the possibility of adopting if she really wants one more kid, even though that's not what I want. I myself was adopted, so I am more open to this than she is, and having us go to couples therapy to talk through this with a professional to help us process this, but nothing seems to be helping. Obviously there was some breakdowns in our communication for us to lead to this. My wife has said she felt like she wishes she had told me more directly and straightforwardly that she didn't want me to do this, but that she didn't feel like she could speak her mind since she could tell I was set on getting the vasectomy. How could I make this situation better? What did I do wrong? Did I disregard her feelings, and should I have cancelled the procedure if she was having cold feet?
Too long did not read. I got a vasectomy done. Wife and I have 4 kids. Even though I saw signs the night before that my wife was getting cold feet and didn't want me to go through with it.
Wife is now extremely distraught and regrets doing this, saying she doesn't know if she can move past this. How can I make this situation better, and what could I have done differently other than ensuring better communication between us?
I think it's time to schedule talking with a professional.
Grief is hitting her hard, and this is above Reddit's pay grade.
You didn't do anything wrong. I get why you went through with it.
Sounds like her comments about cold feet weren't the truth, but she didn't know this consciously until it was too late. Sometimes we're trying to convince ourselves it'll be okay instead of admitting we aren't okay.
Therapy. Both of you. Best of luck to you and your family. Weird question, but does she have religious trauma?
Your vasectomy was the biggest regret of her life?
That'd be like saying her getting her tubes tied is the biggest regret of your life. Let's face facts, in either situation it's not her choice, nor would the alternative be yours.
It's not like you're depriving her of kids. You have 4, plenty in this day and age by any account. This might be more on her doubting herself, as she probably has spent a goodly amount of time making babies and being a mom, and what is she going to do with herself when that isn't an avenue for her anymore?
She should probably see a therapist because there are likely underlying issues with her own security.
That all said, you did this for yourself and your kids, and ultimately that's what matters.
Biceps. Is the really religious the God comment around depriving her of unborn children? Or are her parents religious? Intrigued as will affect my response beyond this post.
Also, may I ask, or let you ponder, how is she with having the time for raising 4 children? Do they do all the activities they want, or is time too scarce for the family? I guess maybe she can envision a 5th, but also Mother Nature could have equally prevented the 5th.
I do worry that her emotions seem a bit extreme. And I hope nobody waiting around the metaphorical corner ready to give her baby 5.
This sounds like an unexpected grief reaction that she is having a tough time even naming. There is a finality aspect of grief that always comes with regret. I.e., if only I had told him directly that she needs help to work through. Schedule a couples therapist appointment and try a few sessions. If she refuses, go yourself. If she goes and finds it helpful, it may encourage her to look for individual therapy. You didn't do anything wrong. Many women have these same feelings when they begin menopause, even if they didn't want any more children. It is the fact the possibility is now closed that creates the grief.
She is responding this way to the closing of the door with your vasectomy. In the meantime, just try to be supportive and not talk her out of her feelings.
Frame it as grief.
She is out of line, let her be mad for a bit.
If she doesn't come around, then you'll need to escalate to some sort of therapy, but for now, it sounds like you have to take the punishment of marrying someone unreasonable. This can't be the first time she has held a grudge. You did nothing wrong.
She agreed to get this done. It isn't fair or right for her to change her mind after the fact.
My recommendation is for her to see a counselor. It seems to me that she has some mental health issues that need to be addressed. After our 4th, I made the spore, even telling her.
I eventually did though.